Hello everyone, my name is S. Jawhar Reddy. I am from Information Technology, Section A. Today my topic is ARP Protocol and it is from Computer Networking subject. Let's start. So ARP Protocol, what is meant by ARP Protocol? So ARP Protocol means Address Resolution Protocol. So the abbreviation of ARP is Address Resolution Protocol. Is a protocol, a procedure that connects an ever-changing internet protocol IP address, internet protocol IP address to a fixed physical machine address, also known as media access control MAC address in a local area network. So ARP protocol, address resolution protocol, is a protocol or a procedure that connects an ever-changing internet protocol address to a fixed physical machine address, also known as media access control address in a local area network. So this mapping procedure is important because the lengths of the internet protocol and media access control addresses differ. So the IP address and MAC address are different. So this address resolution protocol is important uh, because the lengths of the IP and MAC address differ, and a translation is needed so that the systems can recognize one another. Translation is needed so that the systems can recognize one another. The most used IP today is IP version 4, IPv4, and IP address is 32 bits long. However, MAC address media access control addresses are 48 bits long. Translates the 32-bit address uh, to 48 and vice versa. So there is a networking model known as Open Systems Interconnection OSI model, first developed in late 1970s. The OSI model uses layers to give IT teams a visualization of what is going on with a particular networking system. This can be helpful in determining which layer affects which application, device, a software installed on the network, and further, which IT or engineering professional is responsible for managing that layer. The MAC address is also known as the data link layer, which establishes and terminates a connection between two physically connected devices so that data transfer can take place. The MAC address is also known as the data link layer, which establishes and terminates a connection between two physically connected devices so that data transfer can take place. The IP address is also referred to as the network layer, or the layer responsible for forwarding packets of data through different routers. Address resolution protocol works between these layers. So how address resolution protocol works? So there is a router between n number of computers, each have a particular address. Okay, so there is a host computer. Wait, let me show. So there is a host computer uh, and another computer which is sending a media access control address. So the host is requesting the media access control address of 34.40.21.20 dot, and there is a computer sending media access control address A5 2298 5C 24 and 98. So this is of 48 bits, and so this router maps each other. So this is how address resolution protocol works. What does address resolution protocol do and how does it work? When a new computer joins a local area network, it will receive a unique internet protocol address to use for identification and communication. Packets of data arrive at a gateway destined for a particular host machine. The gateway or the piece of hardware on a network that allows data to flow from one network to another. So packets of data arrive at a gateway destined for a particular host machine. The gateway, as shown in the previous picture, so the packets of data arrive at a gateway destined for a particular host machine. The gateway or the piece of hardware on a network that allows data flow from one network to another network asks the ARP program, address resolution program, uh, protocol program to find a media access control address that matches the IP address. So in last picture we saw that there is a host and there is one more computer requesting sending MAC address and the host is requesting MAC address. So the MAC address that matches the IP address. The ARP cache keeps a list of each IP address and its matching MAC address, media access control address. The address resolution protocol cache is dynamic, but users on a network can also configure a static address resolution protocol table containing IP addresses and MAC addresses. So address resolution protocol cache are kept on all operating systems in an Internet Protocol version 4 Ethernet network. Every time a device requests a media access control address to send data to another device connected to the local area network, the device verifies its address resolution protocol cache to see if the IP to MAC address connection has already been completed. If it exists, then a new request is unnecessary. However, if the translation has not yet been carried out, then request for network address is sent and ARP is performed. So the ARP caches are kept on all operating systems in an Internet Protocol version 4 Ethernet network. Every time a device requests a MAC address, media access control address, to send data to another device connected to the LAN, the device verifies its ARP cache to see if the IP to MAC address connection has already been completed. If it exists, then a new request is unnecessary. However, if the translation has not yet been carried out, then request for network address is sent and address resolution protocol is performed. An ARP cache size is limited by design and addresses tend to stay in the cache for only a few minutes. It is purged regularly to free up space. This design is also intended for privacy and security to prevent IP addresses from being stolen or spoofed by cyber attackers. While MAC addresses are fixed, IP addresses are constantly updated. In the purging process, unutilized addresses are deleted. So, is any data related to unsuccessful attempts to communicate with computers not connected to the network or that are not even powered. What is address resolution protocol's relationship with the DHCP and DNS? How do they differ? So ARP address resolution protocol is the process of connecting a dynamic IP address to a physical machine's media access control address. As such, it is important to have a look at a few technologies related to IP. As mentioned previously, IP addresses by design are changed constantly for simple reason that doing so gives users security and privacy. However, changes on IP addresses should not be completely random. There should be rules that allocate an IP addresses from a defined range of numbers available in a specific network. This helps prevent issues such as two computers receiving the same IP address. The rules are known as DHCP or Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. So IP addresses are identified for computers are important because they are needed to perform important internet search. When users search for a domain name or uniform resource locator URL, they use an alphabetical name. Computers, on the other hand, use numerical IP address to associate the domain name with a server. To connect to a domain name system, DNS server is used to translate an IP address from confusing string of numbers into a more readable, easily understandable domain name, and vice versa. So, types of ARP. Let's see the types of address resolution protocol. There are different versions and use cases of ARP. Let us take a look at a few. So, the first one is proxy ARP. Proxy ARP is a technique by which a proxy device on a given network answers the ARP request for an IP address that is not on on that network. The proxy is aware of the location of the traffic destination and offers its own MAC address as a destination. Gratuitous ARP. So is almost like an administrative procedure carried out as a way for a host on a network to simply announce or update its IP to MAC addresses. Mm, Gratuitous ARP is not prompted by an ARP request to translate an IP address to a MAC address. Reverse ARP. Host machines that do not know their own IP address can use the reverse address resolution protocol for discovery. Inverse ARP. Whereas ARP uses an IP address to find a MAC address, IARP uses a MAC address to find IP address. What is ARP networking useful for? ARP is necessary because the software addresses of the host or computer connected to the network needs to be translated to a hardware address. Without ARP, a host would not be able to figure out the hardware address of another host. The LAN keeps a table or a directory that maps IP addresses to MAC address of the different devices, including both endpoints and routers on that network. This table or directory is not maintained by users or even by IT administrators. Instead, the ARP protocol creates entires on the fly. If a user's device does not know the hardware address of the destination host, the device will send a message to every host on the network asking for this address. When the proper destination host learns of the request, it will reply back with its hardware address, which will then be stored in the ARP directory or table. If ARP is not supported, manual entries can be made to this directory. Thank you.